During the early parts of World War II, Nazi forces were issued with crystal meth, a standard issue, to turn them into Nazi super soldiers, who could relentlessly fight like robots, and helped Hitler achieve his Blitzkrieg military aims. Pervitin, chemically known as methamphetamine, was synthesized by the German pharmaceutical company Temla-Werke in 1937. The compound was derived from ephedrine, a natural stimulant found in certain plants. Initially developed as a nasal decongestant and marketed as a performance-enhancing drug, Pervitin was believed to improve alertness and combat fatigue. The German military, particularly the Luftwaffe, recognized the potential benefits of Pervitin and began experimenting with its use. In 1939, the Luftwaffe's chief medical officer, Dr. Otto Rank, conducted studies on the drug's effects on pilots and ground personnel. Rank observed that Pervitin increased wakefulness, reduced fatigue, and enhanced performance. The positive results observed by Dr. Rank led to the widespread adoption of Pervitin throughout the German military. The drug became popular among soldiers, tank crews, and even U-boat crews who needed to stay awake and alert for extended periods. Pervitin tablets, containing 3 mg of methamphetamine, were distributed to troops under the brand name DX. During the invasion of Poland in 1939 and the subsequent campaign in France in 1940, Pervitin played a role in boosting the performance of German forces. Soldiers were issued Pervitin tablets to counter fatigue and sustain their combat effectiveness during long marches and intense engagements. The drug helped soldiers stay awake for days and maintain a heightened sense of alertness. Pervitin usage reached its peak during Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941. German soldiers were provided with Pervitin tablets as part of their standard issue. The drug was utilized extensively to enhance endurance, suppress appetite, and sustain combat effectiveness in the harsh and demanding conditions of the Eastern Front. While Pervitin temporarily increased alertness and reduced fatigue, it came with significant side effects. Soldiers who took Pervitin experienced heightened aggression, restlessness, and increased risk-taking behavior. The drug also caused sleep disturbances, paranoia, and hallucinations. Pervitin's effects on judgment and decision-making abilities were often detrimental, leading to reckless actions on the battlefield. As the war progressed, the German military faced logistical challenges in supplying Pervitin to all troops. The production of the drug relied heavily on precursors sourced from abroad, and shortages occurred. Prolonged usage of Pervitin led to diminishing returns, as soldiers developed tolerance to its effects. The drug's side effects became more pronounced, resulting in reduced combat effectiveness, sleep disorders, paranoia, and mental instability among soldiers. The Allies became aware of the German military's use of Pervitin. In response, they also explored the development of similar drugs to enhance the performance of their own forces. For example, the United States developed a drug called dexedrine, which contained dextroamphetamine and was used to combat fatigue, increase alertness, and improve endurance among soldiers. It is worth noting that the long-term impact of Pervitin on the German war effort remains a subject of historical debate. Some say it had an overall negative effect. While it may have provided temporary benefits in certain situations, its overall impact on the effectiveness of German forces during World War II is difficult to quantify and evaluate in isolation from other factors. Pervitin, the methamphetamine-based drug, played a role in supporting the German military's rapid and aggressive tactic known as Blitzkrieg during World War II. Hitler ordered the use of methamphetamine during the Blitzkrieg across Poland and France so he could quickly advance his troops. The enemy were overwhelmed by the Nazi super soldiers they faced. They must have thought they were superhumans, but in fact they were just high on drugs. Blitzkrieg relied on swift and overwhelming attacks to disorient and defeat the enemy. Pervitin gave the soldiers increased alertness and stamina. Pervitin's stimulant properties helped soldiers stay awake, alert, and focused for extended periods, allowing them to sustain the fast pace of the offensive. It helped mitigate the effects of fatigue and sleep deprivation, enabling troops to push forward relentlessly. Blitzkrieg operations involved long hours of continuous movement, both on foot and in vehicles. Pervitin reduced fatigue and provided a temporary energy boost, allowing soldiers to operate effectively for prolonged periods without the need for rest or sleep. This was particularly crucial during the initial stages of Blitzkrieg offensives when the element of surprise and speed were critical. Pervitin's effects on cognition and perception contributed to the soldiers' combat effectiveness. It increased confidence, reduced fear, and boosted morale. In short, it turned the average Nazi squaddie into a drug-fueled Terminator. The drug also decreased the need for food and water, allowing soldiers to prioritize military objectives over basic physiological requirements. They were able to concentrate on fighting at all times without worrying about resting, eating, and rehydrating. Just like a mass super-killing machine, efficient and lethal. The combination of heightened alertness, reduced fatigue, and increased stamina facilitated the swift movements characteristic of Blitzkrieg. Without the soldiers, high on drugs, would Blitzkrieg have been possible? It's impossible to speculate, but it certainly made the Nazi army more deadly and fearsome than any of its enemies. Pervitin enabled German forces to cover large distances quickly, seize key positions, and exploit weaknesses in enemy lines before they could mount an effective defense. This contributed to the success of Blitzkrieg campaigns, such as the invasions of Poland and France. Pervitin's stimulant effects had psychological consequences as well. It created a sense of invincibility and aggression among the soldiers, leading to an increased willingness to take risks and engage in combat. It created a drug-fueled super-Nazi army, super confident, super efficient, with very high moral and high expectations of defeating all who came into contact with it. This psychological boost further supported the rapid and audacious nature of the Blitzkrieg strategy. However, it's important to note that while Pervitin may have provided short-term benefits during the initial stages of Blitzkrieg offensives, its long-term effects were detrimental. Pervitin abuse led to addiction, increased risk-taking behavior, impaired judgment, and negative physical and mental health consequences. The sustained use of Pervitin among German soldiers eventually led to diminishing returns and undermined their overall combat effectiveness as the war progressed. Eventually, as the Allies became stronger, the Nazis became weaker, and the Nazi Third Reich was soon to be over.